So the TCGPlayer sale has officially ended. As you can see here on the homepage, there is no more promotion for it because it has ended. So all I want to do is do an overview of Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet to see the prices of all the products and what has changed. Honestly, this sale, I really thought more was going to happen in terms of price movement. I really thought we would see some Sword and Shield movement, for the boxes, because recently on the past few days there's been some sort of cooldown. Boxes really haven't been moving, and I thought this was going to push it a little bit higher, and then we would see then some stagnation. But based on what happened here with the sale, it looks like, in my opinion, Sword and Shield is sort of at this point probably at its top in terms of skyrocketing. I think at this point it's sort of going to stabilize from here. I don't really see any crazy movement, at least in the very near future, for Sword and Shield, because the sales just sort of proves it in a way where, just I really thought this would be the push for Sword and Shield to get to that. Some of these boxes were near 500, some of them were like Fusion Strike were near 1,000. I really thought this, sale was going to push those further, but I was wrong. So I think we are sort of at that point of peak with Sword and Shield for the near future. I don't think we're going to go up much more from here. It's possible we may see a couple boxes move up a little bit, but I do think Sword and Shield at this point is sort of, at its top right now, and it's probably going to stay here for a little bit of time. I could be wrong, but that's sort of what I'm getting from the sale. And just recently, a lot of the boxes just seemingly haven't been selling as much. So that's just sort of my take on Sword and Shield, but we'll go through all the prices and the sales. And then we'll also look at Scarlet and Violet. And Scarlet and Violet, I would say, probably had more action in terms of price movement, because a lot of boxes did move a lot more than Sword and Shield. So let's just get on to this. Gonna go through all the products just like I did yesterday, but this is after the sale. So Chilling Reign, as you can see here, is still at $440. If you check my previous videos, it's the same price. But we can see during the sale, 47 boxes sold. And it's still the exact same price as it was before the sale. So the sale really did nothing in terms of moving the price. Just a ton of boxes sold because a ton of people listed. And if you look at supply before this hits 500, it's basically the exact same as it was before. So really, the sale did nothing to Chilling Reign. Next here, Evolving Skies. Evolving Skies did absolutely nothing because I'm pretty sure there is some sort of cap with the sale, which is why literally just one box sold during the sale day. So really not much going on here with Evolving Skies. Next here, Fusion Strike. As you can see, one box sold for $704. So as you can see here, nothing really has changed. Still, supply has been added a lot with Fusion Strike. At one point, there was like a few boxes in between this going to like $1,000. But yeah, there's a lot more that have been listed. As you can see here on this page, there's a bunch at around 900 under. Then this next page, it does go up to like 1,000, but a lot of supply has been added for Sword and Shield. And just looking at sales volume, as you can see here, past few days, I really think it's just a lot of indication that Sword and Shield boxes probably aren't going to skyrocket anytime soon. In like a week, I don't think we're going to see some extreme growth, just based on what I'm seeing here, especially with the sale. A lot of the boxes really didn't do anything crazy for Sword and Shield. Next here, Brilliant Stars, same thing. We had like a increase in sales volume, 17 boxes sold. Price is still it's still under 450. I think at one point was this almost $500. Prices for some of these actually did go down, is what I noticed. So I think this was at one point almost $500, but you can see here a lot of supply under 500. Next page, still under 500. So yeah, Sword and Shield, definitely there's been an increase in supply on the market. Next here, Astral Radiance. Astral Radiance at one point was like 5 boxes away from being 500. It's still now, it's, a little bit further away now. Not a huge increase in sales, 11 boxes, compared to like some of the other ones that saw a way bigger increase. But you can see here, based on supply, there's just a lot more listed now than before. Like I said, there was at one point like 5 boxes in between 500. I don't know how many that is, but it's a lot. Next, Lost Origin. At one point, Lost Origin was $600. It is now at $520. Huge increase in sales, as you can see here, compared to the other days. But yeah, at one point, like I said, this was $600 lowest listed. Now it's at $520. You can see supply on the market here. If we go through, we can see how many boxes are under 600 here. So there's like 8 right there. And what is there? Maybe like 15 boxes, 15 to 20 boxes under 600. But as you can see, it has sort of gone down. I guess that listing sort of went away from what it was. I don't know why, but anyways, I guess it's 550 now. So there you go. Lost Origin sales volume increased, but still the price really hasn't done anything. Like I said, it was at 1.600. It's now like 550. Next, Silver Tempest. Silver Tempest on increase in sales, 23 boxes sold. So you can see here right now, lowest listed is around $365. You look at supply on the market. Same thing for this one. For like the other ones, didn't really change much. A lot of supply has been added. As you can see here, this whole page doesn't go to 400. This page, it does go to 400. So really nothing has changed with Sword and Shield overall. Just a lot of sales, but a lot has been listed. So it's sort of evened out, and we're basically back to where we were, or basically where we were at before the sale. Like nothing really changed. Some of the boxes did decrease a little bit in price, but other than that, Sword and Shield, no more price movements really. And I really think Sword and Shield is probably not going to go much further up in the near future. I really think this is sort of the point where in the next probably week we'll see a decrease in sales for Sword and Shield, just in my opinion. Now, next here is, Scarlet and Violet. Scarlet and Violet definitely had a lot more action. So Scarlet and Violet base now is above $200. You can see here today, or yesterday, 71 boxes sold for an average price of $205. So they did have a huge increase in sales from, the past few days. Only like 2 to 5 boxes were selling. This day, 70 boxes sold. So this increased a lot in sales. Also, the price went up a little bit as well. Next here, Paldea Evolved. Paldea Evolved saw a huge increase in sales. As you can see here, 132 boxes sold for an average price of $296. And as you can see here, lowest listed right now is basically $300. So this is basically $300. Now next here, Obsidian Flames. Obsidian Flames is now at $250. And as you can see here, huge increase in sales, 59 boxes sold. So this is now 240, well, 250, dollars, 248, whatever, which is kind of crazy when you really think about how expensive this is comparatively to everything else. I think at this point, this is more, or actually, it's Surging Sparks. I think, did it go up? I guess we'll see here. But this is basically just as expensive as, Surging Sparks, I believe, like around there. I think it's more expensive than Twilight. This has gone up a lot from this sale, so pretty crazy to see Obsidian at now 250. Next, Paradox Rift, 207, moved up a little bit. Huge increase in sales like the other boxes, 64 sales on this day. So moved up, like $10, so a little bit of movement. Temporal moved up a little bit as well, like around $10. Well, how many boxes sold? 70 boxes sold for an average price of $215. You can see some of these saw, pretty big amount of sales like increased. And some of these did move up, but some of these only moved up a little bit. Like Temporal before the sale and Paradox were both like around 200. They moved to like $10, but other boxes like Obsidian have moved up a lot more. Also like Paldea. Next here we have Twilight Masquerade. Twilight Masquerade's at 235. We saw a huge increase in sales for this box at 116 sales at 228. So this one moved up a little bit. I think it was around 225 before the sale, so moved up a little bit. But a lot of these boxes, I'm not really showing here, but a lot of them, like the supply has been cleared out a lot, where a lot of these could start moving up, to the 250s and plus. Seller Crown here is now at 215. Huge increase in sales, has moved up, around like $10. Same thing for Stellar. Pretty sure on this next page it starts going up to like get closer to 250s. A lot of the supply for Scarlet and Violet is getting a lot thinner in the low 200s, and a lot of them are moving up. Surging Sparks, I guess actually at this point Obsidian is more expensive than Surging. I thought the price moved up a little bit for Surging, but it's still around like 240. A huge increase in sales for Surging. 183 booster boxes sold, so pretty crazy sales volume for Surging. But it's still basically the same price as it was before, so nothing really happened here, just a lot of sales. Next, Journey Together. Now, I don't know why the graph is like messed up with Journey Together, so I don't know how many have been sold, but it's still the exact same price as before. You can see sort of a trend here. Some of the boxes, they're not as popular ones, really didn't move much, but some of them, like Paldea, Obsidian, moved a lot more, but a lot of these really haven't moved that much. Destined Rivals also included here. I didn't actually know this was, would qualify for part of the sale because it is like a pre-order, but I guess it did, so I didn't include it in previous videos. But 349 boxes sold for $267. Lowest listed is the exact same as before. It's in the 260s. So yeah, nothing really has changed with a lot of these boxes. A few of them have moved, but majority of the boxes overall really haven't done much. But I would say Scarlet and Violet, there's been more action because of the huge amount of sales volume, and seemingly a lot of them are going to go closer to the 250 range if they're in the low 200s, and some have moved up to around $300 like Paldea. So just some of the specialty sets from Scarlet and Violet. 151 also saw an increase in sales. As you can see here, 31 boxes sold. Still, the price of these boxes, I think before the sale was around 220, 230. So it really hasn't moved that much, but there's been a huge increase in sales. Paldean Fates also saw an increase in sales. As you can see here, 26 boxes sold. Still same price as before. Prismatic Evolutions, ETBs, saw a huge increase in sales. 412 ETBs sold. But still, the price exactly the same as before. And Shrouded Fable, you can see here, did also see an increase in sales at 44 sales, but still, prices all the same. So, what to take away from the sale? Honestly, not really much. I mean, the strength of the market still shows. I mean, some of the boxes, 100 sold, for Prismatic, 400 sold. So, the strength market, it shows with the sale, but nothing really came out of it in terms of price movement. I know there was, speculation that, prices move up. Like I was saying, I believe Sword and Shield could see a further push, and possibly even, Scarlet and Violet. And we did see that with some stuff from from Scarlet and Violet, but Sword and Shield literally did absolutely nothing. So I think prices, like I said, for Sword and Shield, probably after this sale, I don't think they're going to go up much more. It's possible some of them may increase a little bit, but I don't see the skyrocketing like we saw a couple of weeks ago. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're sort of at that stopping point. In Scarlet and Violet, though, I will say Scarlet and Violet, this sale did do something, I think, for a lot of these boxes in terms of getting rid of a lot of them in the low 200s. And a lot of them, I think, from this sale are going to push 250s and then 300s. So if I were you guys out there, I'd be buying the first probably 4 or 5 sets from Scarlet and Violet for booster boxes. Specifically, I think Paldea Evolved is at this point one of the standouts, and I think at 300, it's the most expensive, but I feel like it's the most safest ones, and also one of the best sets. So you're paying up for that, but you wait a couple years from now, the box is probably going to be $400 or $500 at least. So if you're buying it around $300, I mean, I think 400 is being, I think a little bit conservative. That box is probably gonna be $500-600 in my opinion in probably a year or two. So buying at 300 for Paldea, I don't think is a bad idea. It's a safer buy. Scarlet Violet base, I don't think is that bad either. But at that point, probably would pick some other ones like Paradox or even Temporal, Obsidian. At 250, I don't think is a great buy. Like at that point, you might as well just buy something else, in my opinion. But hey, you can find Obsidian for a decent price somewhere, in the 200, maybe very low 200s or sub 200s. Then maybe it's a decent pickup. But other than that, the newer Scarlet and Violet stuff still is a little bit iffy to buy. Obviously because of reprints and stuff. So this sale, I thought was gonna do more to prices, but it didn't. But could be a good thing. Some people out there may have at this point wanted to buy some stuff, and if sales push prices higher, may have been not good for some people. So the fact that prices haven't gone up might be a good thing. There's some opportunities still out there, I would say, to buy some stuff like early Scarlet and Violet stuff. Sword and Shield, I've made a video about it. It's still, I think, okay to buy because if you think about it in a few years, yeah, it'll keep going up, but it just had its run up. So you could try to get ahead of the curve and buy some early Scarlet and Violet stuff. But Sword and Shield, some prices have gone down for some boxes. May be an opportunity. Go on eBay, you can check some stuff out. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys here. Just an overview of the sale and what happened. Just a large amount of sales, but no real big price increases for most of the products here. So that's all I want to say. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.